Starting your own business is hard. Even starting this podcast, I had to wear so many hats. It was like editor, booking things, writing scripts, hosting. I had to hire podcast staff when I had never podcasted, so I don't know what the staff are even supposed to do. I wish I had Shopify as my business partner to get me started right at the beginning. Every day, you're gonna have a task list, and it's not gonna end. Anything that can help you streamline? You like that? Some of this? Do it. Turn your big business idea into... with Shopify on your side. Sign up for your $1 a month trial at shopify.com/Arbour. Go to shopify.com/Arbour. Shopify.com/Arbour. ARBOUR. I'm Nicole Arbour, and this is the Arbor Effect. From the back of a trunk during COVID to one of the fastest expanding stores in America with lineups around the block to get in. He's the sneaker resale titan with mall owners fighting to get his wildly popular, wildly on-trend, and wildly profitable store Impossible Kicks in their mall.
And I never sold sneakers before. I learned on YouTube.
With celebrities, rappers, and athletes constantly stopping by, and a reputation amongst sneakerheads as having the best buyers in the business, he helped turn an idea into a $100 million brand. 19 locations in the most prestigious shopping centers in America in just 3 years.
So we opened that store, and then the Forbes family called us, and we said, can't say no to them.
Today, the Go Team Academy welcomes CEO of Impossible Kicks and my longtime friend, John McCadlow, to teach you how he did it, what not to do, and what practical lessons he learned along the way.
Best business decision I ever made was...
Welcome, Johnny Mac.
Nicole,
you can say your real name.
Yeah, John McCadlow, you know.
I just
it's
found
horrible.
out
It's a
fake
horrible
name.
Polish last name.
Okay, I want to tell the audience how we met first.
Yeah.
It was so funny. You had booked me to do a nightclub appearance at a nightclub that you owned in Connecticut.
In Connecticut.
And like you personally picked me up at the airport and you're
I
like,
was such a fan.
that was so nice. I hope you still are.
I was such a fan. I was just like... You know,
like,
no, I
oh,
still,
hi.
now we're friends, but like I was such a fan. I was just like,
But you took me straight to Party City.
we bought silly string and like carriages full of everything from Mylar balloons and pinatas and all
That
sorts
is
of crazy.
a great first friend date.
Yeah.
Like with the crew.
We
of people.
bonded.
Yeah, we're like, let's buy dumb shit and all of it. And I'm like, are we friends? And we're like, we're friends now. And then the event that night or the next night, it was so funny because it was Easter weekend.
Yes.
And all the students were gone.
Yeah, it was this kind of like, I showed up, everybody was like, hey, I really want to go, but I'm gonna be going home, thanks. And I'm like, oh no.
It's the only nightclub appearance I've ever done where it was mostly empty, but we had the best fucking time. But the people who were there
drink.
partied.
I did shots with you that
Yeah,
night.
you did.
Yeah.
The whole bar did shots with me. I was laying on your bar.
Yes.
The people who were there, I'm like, let's give them a fucking show. So that's how we met. And then I got to see the evolution of knowing that you were a huge car salesman and business owner, right?
Yeah, principal.
In Connecticut.
Dealer principal, yeah.
You taught me the value of those low-cost commercials that are on local TV networks. And you put yourself on all those different TV networks, and every fucking person knew you. So you went from being a local celebrity from your commercials and being so funny on them to people buying high-ticket items off of you because they recognized you from a low-ticket ad. Tell me about that, please, because it's genius.
So I started doing TV in 2005, you know, and I was, you know, always a musician. So I was kind of a ham on camera. So we started doing that, and we just hit it with so much saturation, and we took a dealership that was struggling to be the #1 franchise dealer in the state after 4 years. You know, it was a lot of work. And we did a tremendous job, but you know, I was kind of like a local celebrity.
Not like you were. I walked around with you. People screamed your name out of cars. Do you remember that?
It was
that was wild.
It was great. And you know, that was a very interesting transition because when I opened the first store in Connecticut, it was, Johnny Mac is going to be, you know, successful. He's running the business for his brother. And then all of a sudden when I was like, wow, I went into a different state, I go, I'm not Johnny Mac no more. I'm John.
And you told me a couple of years ago at brunch in West Hollywood, you know, I have this idea for this shoe thing, like sneaker reselling. Have you heard of it? Because like the business is booming. Sneakerheads are the coolest people that I've encountered. They love the fucking industry. I think you likened it to people who like Star Wars. Like people don't kind of like Star Wars that are into it. They fucking love
It's a
sneakers.
very good analogy, actually.
Fast forward, that was just an idea that we were discussing at brunch. And now Impossible Kicks, which you are a founder and COO of, is in every freaking major mall that I can see across America. When 90% of new businesses in America close, how the fuck did you start Impossible Kicks?
I was in the auto industry and I kind of was like, you know what? I'm sick of being king of my own sandbox. There's like so much more out there.
There's a lot of sand.
I ended up watching my brother sell sneakers like in the middle of COVID. And I said, this is pretty stupid, but at least I'm going to buy some sneakers because like everything was shut down. And had that horrible outfit. I would wear like jeans with like dress shoes.
Yeah, I remember.
It's a rough with like loafers. Like, what was I doing? Why didn't you say anything back then? I could have started on this earlier.
I thought I did, honestly. I was like, well, who is this dude that's wearing like the shorts with the loafers and hanging out with a lot of wrestlers? I don't know what's going on.
My brother was like, I want to open up a sneaker store. And I said, okay, I don't know what that looks like. So then I was talking to somebody else. This woman came up to me and goes, hey, I want to know where I can get a pair of Yeezys for myself and my boyfriend. And I said, oh, you can get them on like StockX. She goes, no, we want to go in and try them on. And I go, I don't know where to go, So I said, how about we come up with a concept that's kind of, customer facing, 50% men, 50% women, because I feel that women always get alienated and women rule the world. I mean, they're like the leaders. Say it one more
time. Just say it again.
I mean, I'll say it to the camera again. Women rule the world. They lead commerce. It's true.
We love to buy
Listen,
shit.
if you really think about it, everything that men do is for women, essentially. It's either to meet them or to do something nice for them. So
or attract us. Or make us happy when you screw up.
We set up the concept that way and did some paid social.
Yep.
So cut the ribbon. There was a 4-hour wait. And I said, wow.
Wait. On the first store?
First store.
Wait, what did that feel like when there's a lineup around the block for your opening?
What a lot of people, especially in their 30s and 40s, that are so afraid of is to make these choices to try something different because they're afraid they're not going to be good at it. So they stay in that same, paradigm like, okay, this is my life. This is what it's going to look like. I'm going to try nothing. Mm-hmm. That felt good because I said, okay, I really have a shot at this. Mm-hmm. So my brother had like X amount of dollars. I'm like, listen, if you don't have a good grand opening, you're toast. It was crazy. The owner of the mall, Billy Taubman, called me on Monday and goes, listen, can you do this in other centers? And I said, yeah. We were all excited, opened up another store in like 90 days.
What? That is you.
And I never sold sneakers before. So the first time I ever sold sneakers was the day we put the key in the door.
You do know that that's not normal for businesses.
I learned on YouTube. Like how I met you. I just learned on YouTube.
Are you fucking kidding?
No, I'm serious.
You learned on YouTube how to sell sneakers?
Yeah, how to authenticate it, how to do everything like that. I learned everything on YouTube.
Shout out YouTube.
Yeah, shout out YouTube.
Wow.
That's how I met you.
Internet. I love
Crazy,
the internet.
Right? There was another investor that wanted to do a location in Orlando. So I take this gentleman out.
Yeah.
Which the pancakes are really good. And I said, I need like $1 million to invest in this.
Yeah.
And he's like, what? So I had a whole presentation. And
did you wear something cute and tight and wiggle a little?
No. Listen, I went very humble pie. People who start businesses, they think they're going to go and they're going to do it and they're going to take out a business loan. And the bank's not going to want to care about something you've never done before. Even though I was kind of like an overnight success at it, banks still don't want to lend on that. They want to lend on, assets and collateral, et cetera. Mm-hmm. So he's like, $1 million. He's like, let's start with a couple $100,000. And he goes, I'm going to come help you run the company. And because I don't want to be participating in this, he's like, I'm so confused on even what it is. So we opened up the one store, bunch of WWE wrestlers showed up.
Yes.
But anyway, so we opened that store and then the Forbes family called us a month after opening that store. He's like, I want you to open up a store in West Palm. Can't say no to them. So I literally lived on a plane in a U-Haul because we had no money the first year. And it was really a surreal moment to do that. And then we get all the way to Christmas time. And there was a gentleman that owned a boutique investment firm.
Okay.
And the boutique investment firm, the guy goes, I love your concept. I love how everything is here. I raise money for companies like you. If you ever want to raise money, let me know. Gives me his card. So I didn't think anything of it. He leaves. He bought his son $14,000 worth of sneakers.
Fine.
I Google him the next day and see that he owns this big brokerage firm. And I said, wow, this is serious. So I called him up and he goes, listen, I'm in Amsterdam now. He goes, when can I see you? I said, I'll get on a plane tomorrow morning and come to Amsterdam.
You're like an
I'll
OnlyFans
fly
girl.
under the plane.
Yeah, that's like the OnlyFans girl vibes.
Yeah, no. I'm like, I'll fly under
you
the
have
plane.
money? I'm coming.
He goes, listen, don't come. He goes, I'm going to fly a banker out to you to meet you in like 2 weeks. So sure enough, him and a banker came out 2 weeks later, who's the chairman of the company now, and met us. They were like, we're so impressed. Let's see what we can raise you. And that year we raised $7 million. Yeah.
Wait, so that was...
We did our first raise of $4 million before we were even open a year. 11 months.
Flip the table. Okay, amazing. Yeah. Nice.
About 4 or 5 months into it, and we needed some more capital. We raised another $3 million.
Okay.
And now we're going out for a $20 million raise.
Let's go.
Yeah.
Now, the genius part is that you had no product to make. You were buying a product that's already made and reselling that.
Correct.
That business model is effing genius. How do you do it? Do you buy inventory as you want to buy inventory, or are you stuck to a certain amount of shoes a month?
So, like, for example, Lululemon will order all their leggings in Brazil.
Yeah.
And they'll order, 6 months worth. And if black leggings that make your butt look good go out of style, you're stuck selling those.
Yeah.
So
they'll never go out of style, by the way.
No. We have ways that we get releases in massive quantity either before they're out or right when they hit the open market. I have groups that go out there and get hundreds of pairs. Because there's like, for example, like everybody knows the Panda Dunk. So like we sold 18,000 pairs of Panda Dunks.
Those shoes get roasted now, but I still like them.
That shoe was $500 at one point.
That is, I don't care what anybody says. Like the super sneakerheads will make fun of girls who wear the Panda Dunks. I still think they're a great shoe.
It's a great shoe.
I think girls look super cute in them.
It is an entry level, like entry level shoe.
Pandas are the weed of sneakerheads. Yeah. Like it's like that's your gateway drug. Yeah, I get it. Do you have like a network of crazy sneakerheads that like go out fishing for you and bring the shoes in?
So there is more 18 and 19-year-old millionaires than I have ever seen in this industry. It's pretty, it's wild. I mean, they go out and they rent these warehouses for a couple $1,000s and they stockpile shoes. So they have their runners that want to go out and make like, $50 a day, and they'll go to Foot Locker or Champs and they'll wait outside for several hours at a time, on a release day, and they'll go and get a bunch of quantity and they'll go from store to store to store to store.
Genius. And then they resell to you.
They sell to us because we can buy with a big selection. So for example, we could buy, multiple size runs of a certain sneaker, or we can buy, 1,000 pairs at a time, or something that's really hyped that you can't get your hands on. They've maybe gotten 10 or 15 pairs because there's not an unlimited supply. So it's super, super rare.
That's incredible. What a freaking cool business model. It's like
essentially try to monopolize the mall resale market.
It is exciting.
Now we had no budget and we built stores for like 20, 30 grand. Now we spend 150 to 200,000 per store.
You went from sneakers in the back of your trunk to over 20 locations in major malls across America, opening in the Venetian Hotel in Las Vegas, which we both know is going to slaughter.
Oh, it's going to crush.
$100 million valuation, which is I think it's very polite and cute because we both know it's going to be a lot more than that within the next year.
Yeah.
Okay, I'm going to tell you why I want to be part of it. It's not, finances are fun. Money is fun. The game of Monopoly is great. But when I go to Impossible Kicks, and I've gone without you, and I went to pick up stuff one time, and I've just gone myself just to look at your stores because I'm so proud of you. The customer experience, and I'm a marketing nerd. The customer experience, I know, is why you're successful.
Thank you.
What I see is people walk in there and they're buying something that makes them feel really special to own, which all girls especially love. But guys you want to feel freaking cool that like, I have this piece of something that makes me part of this community. And the sneakerhead community is a community. And then the bag. Who came up with that?
I did.
Yes.
The people love it. There's nothing better than getting that bag.
And your store is genius to take photos and selfies of people. Your customers, you make them feel like a celebrity, which everybody wants to. I love that. What's the best business decision you ever made? Decision. What is the best business incision you've ever made?
Best business decision I ever made was when we raised the money for Impossible Kicks. But bringing in the outside capital, because a lot of people don't realize that with a lot of money comes a lot of responsibility. So when people are going to invest
Can you
money,
please say that again?
with a lot of money comes a lot of responsibility, because people are investing in you to not go out there and pay yourself huge bonuses to see you fly first class. They want to make sure that you're opening the stores, getting the product, getting the right employees, and you're showing them a return. Because it was very nerve-wracking when you take in $7 million and 6 months, you got to make sure that you're triaging it and spending it in the right places where you're not just going like, I've heard people go, all right, we're going to have a bunch of influencers over and have a paintball game and use it as PR. It's like, we don't do stuff like that.
Yeah.
I know you've heard stories.
Yeah, I've worked with some brands that are like that. And I worked with them on the marketing sides as well. And I'm like, you did what with your money? And they're like, we worked with this other agency and they had us do a freaking paintball party with influencers because that's our PR for the year. I'm like, can you just break that down for me, how that was pitched to you and then how you said, yes, this is a good idea to do with my investors' money? And then I usually have to come in and be the cleanup crew. And some people know that like I do all the marketing stuff on the back end for huge brands.
Yeah.
Some people may be learning that right this second.
Yeah.
So I love that you didn't waste their money, because that's how I feel. I'm like, if I invested in this brand and they just wasted money on this crappy influencer campaign or this event that nobody cares about, that you invited personal friends who aren't even posting about it.
None of them have any staying power. They go and they give it to a bunch of their favorite influencers. It's like, thank you for brand. You know what I'm saying? And it's like, they go and then they're dead and they're out of money.
Worst decision you've ever made in business?
It's the way I met you. So I wouldn't say it's almost the ultimate worst, but it was owning a nightclub.
They're just money pits, aren't they?
So anybody out there be like, hey, I'm going to open up a nightclub. I mean, we had a 7-figure budget and it was beautiful.
It sure was.
It was beautiful. It was 15,000 square feet. It was an old Irish church that was deconstructed and put in it was just beautiful and gothic and just had an expensive stereo and sound system. And we had the best people playing there. Mm-hmm. And, it just never made money because it wasn't busy enough. Yeah, in certain areas it does work, but it's people with a lot of capital that build it up over the first couple of years and can afford to take big losses. And then it shows a lot of staying power.
What is the worst thing that happened when you were opening one of your Impossible Kicks locations?
We were opening up in Nashville.
Yeah,
opening up. Shit hits the fan in Nashville.
Always.
So we had all the inventory delivered and we had the contractors working on everything, and it was locked.
Okay.
These 3 women actually knew how to jimmy the door open and went and stole $80,000 worth of sneakers before the grand opening. And keep in mind, that was my first conversation I had to have with my investors to be like, $80,000 worth of sneakers got stolen. And it literally took the insurance company a year to pay us.
Wow. Insurance companies give you no insurance or assurance whatsoever. I'm not a fan of insurance companies. No. Find me a good one and I'll be a fan. But I think they all suck.
Yeah, I've never had a great experience with one.
What did they look like? I want to know.
The women?
They're going to jail though, right?
They're going to jail. So I'll send you some mug shots.
In case I run into them. I think you should do is
you
should put their mug shots on a shirt, I was kind of surprised. Sell it.
Yes.
Only at the Nashville location. I would buy it.
Yes.
What do you think about all the business influencers online?
People love being talked down to and people they look up to, like in their face, as opposed to their mentors actually telling them in person.
Ooh.
So what's interesting
is fetishy.
Because if you worked for Andrew Tate and he called you a piece of shit, get your shit together, you would sue the company for a hostile work environment.
They'd be crying and they would.
But it's almost like, ooh, I want to be abused. Let me sign up for their classes, And
they're going to tell me I'm a piece of shit more.
Like Dan Pena. Love Dan Pena. He is you like him?
Yeah.
He is brash. He is very difficult.
He's fun.
That was like my mentor. And you just sucked it up and dealt with it. Nowadays, people are like, oh, I can't be treated like this at work. But then oh, let me go home and look at Dan Pena.
But do you want to be successful or not? This is how I feel about it.
Exactly.
I don't know any successful people that don't get put through the fucking ringer, either by a mentor or by their industry. Morning routines.
Yeah.
Awesome. And you have one, or is it kind of bullshit?
It's kind of bullshit. I see a lot of these gurus try to sell this crazy stuff. It's like, wake up in quiet time and then 10 minutes with the red light and then go into a sauna, then a cool plunge. What the fuck? How much
are you?
How much stuff are you gonna do? You know what I do is I get up and I look at my phone and I start answering and I make coffee. You know, it's like, that's all I do. I make coffee.
Then you just get to fucking business.
Get to business.
Yeah.
You know, people are like, meditate and sit there and pray to baby Jesus.
Your 75 affirmations of the work you're going to do that day, and then meditate on those affirmations, and then watch your 45-minute tutorial on how to run a business. Log into my course, learning how to be a real estate agent.
I love Eric Thomas, but he never responded to my DM, so he's a little bit on my shit list.
Okay,
and I'm going to send it. So he's like, yo, I get up at 3:30 in the morning, have my walk with God. I'm like, I tried that once. Woke up at 3:30. I was like, woke up, took a walk, and I go, it was like 4:15. I go, what am I going to do now?
God's like, I'm sleeping, bitch.
Everybody's asleep.
Yeah.
And I think it's crazy because I have 20 stores and 300 employees.
Say it one more time.
20 stores and almost 300 employees.
Boom.
What am I going to sit there for 4 hours and ponder on?
Now, the people who you think are rock stars within your organization, are you structuring so that they'll have an opportunity to invest in the future?
Yeah. So what's good? We've issued options to all of our key employees, every manager and assistant manager, so that when we do exit, everybody will be really well taken care of. So my whole thing is, if you can come and you can learn from me, which it's like a dead art, and then you can go and you can make a lot of money where you can put a big down payment on a house or buy a car or really get ahead in life.
Yep.
You have the knowledge and the money. You won both ways.
This makes me really happy, though, that you're setting that up, that people can win with you. That's go team as fuck.
Don't fall in love with these business coaches online. They're like, I feel that. Listen, I will, especially the real estate ones are the worst I've ever seen. These real estate coaches are just like horrific. And I will get on your show and debate anyone in the whole country.
Yeah.
I know rookie salespeople that will like car salespeople that mop the floor with them.
First job you ever had?
My godfather owned a body shop.
Cool.
So I used to clean out repossessed cars when I was 13. And I used to make $5 an hour. I could still remember he had me clean out this Ford Escort, and it smelled so bad.
Yeah.
Oh, I still get sick just thinking about it. And then, but my first job where I got a paycheck was I was a skate guard.
Wait, what is a skate guard?
So at a roller skating rink.
Oh my gosh, I thought you meant that. That's so funny.
So I would skate around the rink and I would wait for people to fall, and then I would protect them. Make sure
we thought you were so cool.
I was
when
so
we
cool.
went.
I got so many dates back then.
I bet you.
And then you had to write down your number back in the day. You couldn't even save it on the phone.
Yep.
You beep me.
Wow.
Yeah.
I love that. That was really fun. I feel like I have to tell you mine now.
Yeah, tell me. I want to hear.
My very, very first time making money was my lemonade stand.
No.
It was not a normal lemonade stand. We sold for more than we should have been selling for. And I got my little sister, who was just freaking adorable. I was like, I want you to go put on your cutest little bikini now. I didn't know that was kind of weird because I was a kid too, but I was just like, she's cute and I want her to be at maximum cuteness. And I put on my cutest little bathing suit, and we went out there and we're like, lemonade. We sold out, and I'm like, Mom. She's like, oh, honey, it's not going too good. I'm like, I need more lemonade. And I never gave anybody change. That was my trick.
Repeat business.
Why do you think you've been successful when, like I said, 90% of startups fail in the first year? 90%.
I didn't spend any money my first year. We didn't have a lot of money to go around. We made almost no money. And once we started to see some success, I made sure that we redeployed that money into the business. And a lot of things that happen is everybody is so obsessed with its internet bullshit.
Yeah.
Why is it that everybody thinks everybody has a Lamborghini Gallardo, okay, or Huracan, which is
because you can rent one by the hour here in Miami.
Correct.
Yeah.
So what they do is, you have somebody that has a good concept and they've never lived life. So let's say they sell lemonade, okay, and they go out and they see some success, and they've always lived in their parents' bedroom, so they go out and they get themselves a penthouse apartment, they rent the Lamborghini, they lease an Escalade, they're going out spending $10,000 to impress Susie Q over here.
Susie Q, hi.
Yeah.
Haven't seen you in a while.
They're trying to flex and be like, I have success. Look at all these things I have.
Yep.
Well, at one time I had, because you didn't develop your skills and you didn't develop your relationships, you saw a very short-term surge, kind of like a flash in the pan that they call it. So it's one of the two things is they either overspend or there's not enough preparation. So you kind of have to see if I have $1 over here, how is it going to become $2?
And you need to do that exercise for every dollar.
It has to be a straight line. And that's where these young entrepreneurs can't say I have an idea. You say, I have an idea and a business plan.
How can someone who's dating a badass entrepreneur be a supportive partner, man or woman? I thought you'd be a good person to ask this.
Not to give them a hard time, but just ask for good communication. I don't care who it is. They can always text you in the morning, text you a couple times during the day.
Yep.
Maybe make time for 5 minutes of a phone call. Even if it's like, hey, I'm going into a meeting, just thinking about you, talk to you soon.
Yeah.
That is so valuable. But to also just be like, not naggy. You know, when someone gets very naggy, that really hurt, you know, a relationship for me. It's like, when are you going to be home? When are you going to do this? When are you going to do that? You know, being an entrepreneur, especially opening up a national platform, it's a lot of lonely nights in a hotel, you know?
Yes.
If you really care about that man or woman, don't be like going out, showing off on your Instagram that you're out clubbing or whatever, because it brings so much stress into their life.
Yeah.
And let them grow, let them have their moment, because in turn, they will take care of you.
Cool.
Yeah.
I think that's some great advice.
Yeah.
I've seen people on both ends, men and women, get really offended when the other partner's crushing it in their business or whatever they're doing.
Yeah.
Well, why aren't you home with me? I'm like, well, girl, you want a new Birkin bag. Do you want him to do this? Magic, a Birkin.
Correct.
He has to go buy it, which means he has to go and do his job. And all these girls and all these rap songs and all these things, it's always like, yeah, buy me this and buy me that. And it's like, he needs to go to work, bitch.
Yeah,
you know?
of
Where's
course,
that
of
song?
course.
I'm going to work, bitch. Don't nag at me. I think I got to make that song.
Yeah. You may love that person, not want to lose them, but you also have 100 investors' money and, you know, hundreds of employees.
And those
that you
investors
have,
have guns, depending on what state they live in.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
Oh,
you know, like it's a lot of stress.
I bet you it's hard to swim with cement shoes.
Yeah.
So.
Yeah. I've never tried. You don't sell those.
No.
Yeah.
No, these guys are fantastic. I have some great investors.
They sound like they're from New York.
Yeah.
Okay. Is there anything else you would like to add that you feel like you haven't said yet?
I always love everything you do. I've been a fan even before we became friends.
Oh, that makes me so happy.
Yeah.
And now I'm a fan and like
Yeah.
I love getting to cheer for you. And it's like we were both starting to grow something new at the same time.
Yeah.
And it's both of us. It's been like
you have
just
a
blowing
roaring
up.
blaze. You have a roaring blaze.
Yeah. Let's go.
Yeah.
Well, my friend, there's only one more thing for me to say. No, two more. One, take my money.
Yes.
And two, go team.
Yeah, go team.
Yeah.
Go team. Thanks, Nicole.
Shopify.com/Arbour. ARBOUR.